Welcome to our QR video sequence. I am the owner here and one of the lead developers of this product. Hopefully we're going to teach you a little bit about building with a woody log building system. We appreciate you watching, and hopefully you're going to learn something about building your dream log cabin. Earlier, in one of the early start QR code readers, we built the rafter. We built it on the flat deck. Probably first, second, or third QR reader as we get going here. The reason we did that is now we are using that rafter assembly to build our gable end, to pre-build our gable end, because the rafter and the gable end are going to be identical. And they're going to be identical because your roof boards then go across straight. So that's why I had you build a rafter ahead of time, because you use the floor deck to make the dimensions proper. Now the guys are putting parts in here, starting with the RE, or the end of the rafter gable end. Just flush that out with the primary rafter. That's called a common rafter. In your manual and on the QR reader, there is a chart, and it shows you, based on the size of your building, meaning the width of the building, what part goes where. So all of these parts are pre-cut. Once you get this bottom plate attached, the other plates will just lay right in there. Now the only trick to this is you want to make sure that this bottom is straight. So the guys will pull a line on there and make darn sure that that's straight, because that's going to sit on top of the cabin. We don't want it to do this. So we're going to film this. The guys are going to start assembling parts in here, exactly where they go. They did start with the RE. This part is a top plate that meshes at the top of the rafter. Now we got the studs going on. These are called cripples, and we start with a short one right next to the end of the RE. You will have, if you have two gables, you will have 4 identical parts for 2 gables. Or this is actually set together in half a gable. So on a larger building, you maybe only want to build half of this in order to lift it up, because we're going to lift this up. And so what Alfred is doing is setting that in. The first one, once you plane that out, first thing he wants to do is nail this, the bottom plate, to the RE, to the short rafter. So first thing we want to do is nail that in. Okay, that gets us, and that gets centered. So the center of this gable is the center of the rafter, and this is the center here. So you could bring a line down here and make sure you're centered there, but basically if you hold it same length either end, you're going to be right. Now while Al's nailing that, I'm going to have Mark grab one of the longer pieces that goes near the center, and that is it's called part number C. Nope, part number C, it would be that part right here. Let me show that part. This part has a bevel, double bevel cut on the front. This will establish the length in the center of it. So that part lays right in there. Bring it down. That will make this straight automatically. So we're going to have Al put that part in first. And again, we have the convenience of a nail gun. If you have one on site, fine. If not, a lot of times we'll use the screws, drywall screws, or you can nail it in by hand with a hand nailer. Typically, in nailing 2x4s together like this, actually it's a 2x3, you use 16 penny sinkers. 16 penny sinkers. We don't normally send fasteners with the kit, nails and general fasteners, because if you have a nail gun, that may take a different type of nail than we send you. So always nice to have a pocket full of hand nails. If you got a hand nailer, then you'll be using a pass loader or boss stitch or whatever those nails would be. So Al is going to hold that piece C flush with the bottom of the gable end part, and what's going to happen is that becomes a spacer, and it also becomes an area where we bring wiring up. Next to that part is going to be the longer one with the angle And that part on this building will be 100 and, no, I'm sorry, it's going to be 60 S. If you look on your chart, part S, that's it. So that should drive right in there. That becomes what we call a king stud, either side of the top. Now at this point, Mark will be able to put the rest of the pieces in loose because they all will kind of go, and this is 24 inches on center. That's how we've designed this. Do we have a T-square handy? We're going to get a T-square. It may help you assemble this part. These are going to be 24 inches on center. So the center lines are not marked on these bottom plates, but once you get your first one in, you can pull 24 inches on center and be able to assemble it. So what we're doing is assembling the various short pieces that go in. That one probably goes on the other side, Mark. Remember, there's 2 identical parts for each one. So now what I'm going to have Matt do is help Al put it on here and center this piece so it comes up square off of the bottom plate. And then Matt can mark that bottom because or grab the nailer and he knows right where to nail it, right behind him. Here you go. And then the next piece will go right in. You'll find that piece. Again, you got 4, if you got a 2-gable building, you're going to have 4 pieces the same size. Now this gable wall is 3 inches wide. Okay, we've taken a 2x4 actually and ripped a 1/2 inch off, making an 1.5 inches by 3 inches. The reason we've done that is that mates with all our parts going up. You will be able to insulate this with coat insulation. You can get an R13 in here by packing it in. If you want more insulation in your gable end, a way to do that is closed cell foam. And you can use closed cell foam. You can buy a little power pack and spray it with closed cell foam if you want more insulation value. So now we have the basic skeleton, the outline skeleton of the gable end, and we're putting it together. So we'll start with a square and just square them on down, all the way down. The reason we want them square off the bottom is we're going to sheet this eventually, and we want the sheeting to hit on joint. So these parts in the kit, when they come, they're going to be, you know, by the time you unwrap it and put everything, because you don't know where these all go, they're going to be kind of mumbo jumbo. But any part that has an angle cut on it, a 2x3 with an angle on it, that's going to be part of the gable end, so you might just want to set that aside. Sometimes is what we'll do is build a gable end as one of the first things we do. In other words, we built this rafter on the floor deck. Right away, we could build a gable end. We happen to, in the plant here, have plenty of flat room. So if your job site lets you do it, then you don't have to pre-build it. So we'll repeat this process on the other side, and this is going to be ready to go up. So while the guys are finishing this, we're going to start putting some loft planks up. And so this is all set to go once we get the loft up, because we're going to show you a trick on making this real easy to put up. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you've been entertained a little bit. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about the woody log building system. The reality is anybody can do it. We've given you a little bit of a helping hand through our QR series and our initiative. If you have any further questions, contact us at the information listed.